Synergy Nation Network podcast. Shows for those with passion. Visit us online at synnation.net.
I see you, James.
I see you as well, sir, and I see with my little eye another person in our chat, but we'll get to them later, I think.
I think we can get to them later. I think we can get to them now because I think everybody has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Are you cool to go ahead and get to it?
Are you asking me? You don't need... I introduced the thing.
Hell yeah. All right, so everybody else, here we go. You know him from Herbie Records. You're going to know him from Funhouse Productions. You're going to know him from some albums that are coming out. The most recent one I saw was JLGBT. The J stands for Juggalo. Here he comes. He's the White Batmobile. I see you, the White Batmobile.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, yourselves?
Going well. It's a hot and humid day here in sunny Chicagoland, USA.
Yeah, it's worse here in Arizona, I bet.
Ugh.
Yikes. Is there any coverage or is it all full sunshine?
Oh, today it's full blast sunshine, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Not good.
Very much for joining us. I've been waiting for this for a long time. We've known each other for about a year. Does that sound about right to you? Maybe not quite.
Yeah.
And we know each other's Christian names, our given names, but we won't reveal that. But I don't know much else about you. You keep yourself kind of shrouded in mystery. Is there a particular reason for that?
Yes, I find that these days too much of what was given to music is being taken away. People are ignoring music now, and they're watching little TikTok videos of who can do the floss the best, or
right,
little videos of people doing dance offs to little pirate jigs. The only music you see is if it's like a 1-year-old or a kitten, playing a concerto on the violin.
I love kittens playing concertos, though. Come on.
Oh, I love it, but it kind of puts the rest of us out of a job because everyone's starting to shift more towards the visual, towards the conversation, the shout outs, the Twitter wars, whatever it is. So basically, I don't want to add to that by bringing in elements of myself that are outside of the music, my face or my name or any of that stuff that people tend to use to not make it about the music anymore. As we know, I'm sure nobody even remembers what MTV is, but at one time did it not only exist, but it also had music. I suppose it's still there now. But it's mostly just people doing their little spring break on-camera mating rituals in Florida or finding the next teen mom.
No, it's just ridiculous now. There's nothing truly... I believe it is out of a 24-hour period, I think around 18 hours a day. It's just ridiculousness now.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in hotel rooms. I'm out a lot. We don't have cable here at the house, and we don't, the only TV we watch is whatever Charlotte is streaming, basically. She's 16. But we don't see any commercials. We don't see, the TV is not just on in the background unless we're watching something specific. So when I go to hotels, I'll flip through the TV to see what's up, and MTV, James, you nailed it. Ridiculousness is almost always on, and if it's not that, then it's the other Rob Dyrdek show that's closely related. What's it called? He had another one.
Fun Factory?
Yeah, the Factory one. That's correct.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying. The White Batmobile, that is. You're right, because a lot of what people put into TikTok is their own selves, their own personality. So it's I'm charming, so, watch what I'm doing. And, I'm guilty of, I don't do TikTok, but I'm guilty of using my personality strongly to put out my stuff. I put my personality deeply into it, and that's a conscious choice that I made, was to 100% be myself. But I will tell you, before I made that decision, what I was planning on doing was being Svarsace was just going to be the name of my band and my persona. And I was going to do exactly what you're doing, like have nothing in there whatsoever, not even type words, not even say where I'm from, just put out like creepy black metal dungeon music. That was my original plan, and it just kind of altered. Sometimes I wonder if I should have gone with that, but I'm happy doing what I did with my personality. But I guess what I want to get at is, do you ever feel like you want to bring your personality into it, but you feel limited by that?
I would say that the personality can kind of be a limit to the music as well, because then you attract people who are trying to look for a best friend, not people trying to lose themselves in the sound.
That's true. Yeah, I hear you.
Like I remember on South Park, they made a point that the artist has just become a conversation piece for people to comment on commenters and out comment each other, out insult each other. That's not even really about the music anymore. And I figure that if more of us only offer the music, then maybe that'll at least reverse somewhat.
I kept trying to interrupt you, and I'm very sorry. I was just going to say that, me and James have a completely different perspective, I guess. Our aesthetic is like completely different from yours. But I value that. I think it's great that the three of us are completely different, but we all have, some things like amazingly in common. I love your stuff. I was listening to some stuff just yesterday. I admit I don't remember what song in particular I was listening to, because you have a lot of them out there.
Yeah,
but you probably know.
Too many to remember.
It's one of the newer ones, and on the cover of it was like a young juggalette. She's brunette, fairly good looking, but she looks like she's maybe like 18. The song is like 13 minutes long. Does that ring a bell?
Was it the slender chick with the red dress, or was it the really voluptuous, exotic looking lady with the cleavage?
There was no cleavage, so I guess
okay.
It
was Miss Mary Mack then.
Okay, yeah, I was playing drums to that yesterday. I was having a ball. It was like 13 minutes. It was great. I like your aesthetic, because when I say the aesthetic, I meant your music. Because you have a lot of builds in your music. It comes in, it goes out. You add stuff in the middle. There's another artist I did some collaboration with, Stinky Fizzle, except for his actual name is he's like you. He puts out albums about once every 2 days. He's got a new album out. His album,
the guy with the EAT initials from Singapore?
Is of course Last Action.
I have not heard him yet.
Yeah, he has lots of stuff out, but it's noise artist. Where like he'll
I
have
love noise.
Like 10 minutes of like the same the same tone, the same, like a drill sound, for example, or he makes like a tone, and it lasts for the entire 10 minutes. That's not what you do. You're like creating soundscapes, and I think you're using a launch pad. Is that how you do your stuff?
Yeah, I use the Launchpad MIDI controller, Novation software, GarageBand, Easy Brain, Ableton, all across the board. Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is that you put out a quality product about like every 2 or 3 days. It's quality music to listen to. It's not just like, this is what I was in my room doing. So I guess I have a few questions branched off of that. Are you doing these are you recording them as you're releasing them, or do you have like a huge backlog of material?
I had a huge backlog for a while, and then unfortunately, a few weeks ago I had COVID, so I had to kind of just start uploading my backlog to the point where there were none left. So now everything you're hearing is fresh. Yeah.
The most recent one, I love this, the JLGBT. That came out just today, so I haven't heard it yet, but I love the title. The J stands for Juggalo.
Juggalo, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered.
I love your titles. This other title, and then that one time at band camp, on Bandcamp.
Oh yeah, we all love that movie.
Well, like that's the title of your album, and it's on Bandcamp. That's what I love about it. I can't believe nobody's done that yet. James, there was a particular track that you were talking about recently, right? Which one was?
Yeah, I really loved Magnus Lundgren, I believe is the name.
Yes, that was the A side of my EP released by Herbie Records.
Oh, so that's on vinyl then.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah,
Yep.
me and James had a
good.
discussion about that because you're Funhouse Productions and you're also Herbie Records. So is Herbie Records your
Yes,
vinyl?
luckily, neither of the CEOs are greedy, so I must be able to work with both without an exclusivity. So as long since I don't own either of the businesses, so technically it's a non-compete clause or whatever that stuff is not an issue. So it's just luckily they're courteous enough to both release and promote my stuff. Herbie, they do really, really high quality limited edition vinyl, so they're truly into it to spread the music. None of them are fantasizing about becoming the next Clive Griffin or whoever it is that P. Diddy or whoever is the latest. Probably, I don't know, maybe Jay-Z. Is that the one who's like the head of the empire now, as far as owning all the Herbies?
I think it's
one thing about Herbies is they try
Jimmy
to spread it out and give as many artists exposure as possible. Really grateful that they allow me to also be signed under the Funhouse Productions, where my material can be pretty much uploaded and made available at a very rapid pace. So it's sort of like I have the best of both worlds with those two companies.
Cool. Who were you saying, James? Who's the rap empire person now?
Well, it just in general, Jimmy Iovine is pretty much taken over with Interscope and there's a lot of subsidiaries under Interscope.
I thought Snoop Dogg was like getting into like being like the manager and the head of everything these days. He's not the head of Death Row?
No, of Death Row, yeah, but Death Row's just a single independent record label.
Oh, it's just a bunch of bullshit. Nobody cares about
Yeah.
Death Row.
I mean, now it's a catalog, and then maybe there are a couple, and he's probably going to have to redo his business plan of, hey, we're going to release all the new stuff on NFTs because the market just crashed completely.
Yeah, you don't think it'll rebound? I mean, Howard hasn't had a corner about that recently.
On who charted this week, they talk about the crash, but
okay.
I really just think it's going to go back to what it used to be, because what it was for people who would funnel money for tax exemptions through fine art stuff. They were just using that during the pandemic because you couldn't go to a gala.
True.
I mean, this is speculative. No, it's proven that this was happening.
No, I see what you're saying. It's like they were just trying to preserve the concept of high culture when we didn't have the means to actually go experience art that's already has a perceived value.
Oh, no, not that. So the fine arts community is just a complete scam for rich people to get tax write-offs.
Right, exactly.
So they were doing the same thing for NFTs because they wouldn't need to leave the house. Also for the vintage video game market, that it's like proven, people have looked into it. All the like Super Nintendo, or not Super Mario Brothers 64, that one that sold for like $1 million, that was a fraud. Like all of that stuff was just tax write-offs and to build up hype for different auction houses. So the NFT market during the pandemic was them saying like, hey, I bought this NFT that is now worth this much money. I can write this off on a tax thing because it's art and shit. So I think it's going to go back to what it was in like 2018, where it's just small creators using it as a means to be like, well, I don't want to print up or like get made 1,000 minifigures. I can just sell the 3D model of it on an NFT, and then even though people are like, NFTs, they create so much pollution, creating plastic is a lot more polluted than just like, hey, this is one NFT that it bounces around to a few people.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think people harp on that too much too. That like, of course, it burns some energy. It's not going to be like a zero energy thing, but yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I'm worried about the Bored Ape now, because didn't Seth Green have to like pay like $370,000 to get his Bored Ape NFT back to do some TV show, and now that thing has crashed again? So I guess he got doubly screwed.
I mean, he could still make the TV show and like it's not that, as long as he owns that property and people are still hyped enough to. But man, that's just so stupid to follow a trend, especially for animation. It's not like South Park, but like South Park is a well-oiled machine by now to be able to do, hey, 6 days we can get a show out. Animation takes so fucking long, especially if you're trying to create a new series. You have to hire all the people, you have to write the episodes, you have to get the voice acting, then record it, then animate it. Like, there's so much stuff to just follow a trend. By that time, in 6 months when you release the first episode, this all could be no longer relevant, and guess what? It is no longer relevant.
Hey, speaking of releasing the episodes, we were talking on the call before we all got on the record here. We were just having some chit chat, and you said something that it didn't shock me, but I was like, maybe scratch my head a little bit. I was like, you haven't listened to any of the episodes of Sweet Child of Time. And it wasn't like I think you should be listening to the episodes, but it's like, I want you to hear them, to hear how the quality sounds, to hear when I drop in the book corner theme, to hear the music I'm playing underneath and the levels, because the White Batmobile, I mean, you already know this maybe, but I'm playing your music throughout this whole episode. I mean, I'm going to be, this is your week, so the whole time we're going to be talking, we're going to be listening to the White Batmobile underneath it here. So you don't hear any of that, James?
I edit podcasts. That's all I do. I don't want to listen to... I said, hey, I'll do this show if I don't have to edit it. I listened to the first episode, which means by now, if the first episode sounded good, hey, guess what? The 20th one is probably sounding better.
It does. It sounds much better, and I've gotten better at a lot of things. And I want you to hear that along the way, James. I want you to be proud of my baby.
I'm proud of you. I already know it's to be good.
Okay. Let's see. I need to take a break, guys, because I need to pause my record. So y'all hang in with me for 1 second, okay?
All right.
Okay. Thank you. He always gives me a round of applause when we do that, the White Batmobile. I love it. I bask in the applause.
It's for editing purposes. You know this. All I know is my microphone's going to be sounding good.
We're back, everybody. I'm going to switch gears a little bit because we've been talking about all kinds of stuff, but we haven't talked about any books yet.
Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Pick up a book. You got a fantasy, imagination can take you to where you want to be. Are you curious? How can you find out? Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Read about stars and cars, play electric guitars, or cops that work hard, patrolling the boulevard, the heavyweight champ and as crazy as Bow. Books, check them out. Books, check them out. At your library.
So first off, I'm going to hit to James first. Have you been doing any reading this week, James?
I sure have. It's a book called Cast of Characters by William Hanna.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, you've gotten into that. How much have you read of it?
I'm like a chapter or two in. It's just him talking about his upbringing, which it's a stark difference from Joe Barbera's, who lived in Brooklyn and was just like lived a life and knew how to write about it. This is just, there was a section where it's him, Hannah, saying, Yeah, my mom wrote poetry, and it was beautiful. It was amazing. She was never published, but now that I'm writing this book, I found old poetry and some of my favorite ones, and I'm going to make her dreams come true and publish it now. So he's just publishing his mother's poetry in this autobiography, ones that are like, to my family, the loves of my life. Like, that's a title of one of them. So it's like such a wholesome upbringing compared to Barbera's, but they both have the same exact scenario with their father. Barbera's father, piece of shit. Hannah's father, loving, compassionate husband and father. But they both have a situation where the children got in trouble, Hannah and Barbera respectively, and the mother was like, you need to discipline them, brings them into another room, and both of them say like, hey, I do not want to spank you. I am going to act like I do, and when I smack my belt on the side of this whatever, you need to let out a whelp and act like I spanked you. It's weird that both of them from different coasts around the same time. I feel like it was the boomers who started getting this mentality of like, we need to fucking abuse our children, because these people who are like, whoever's before the silent generation would have been these parents were like, I guess we need to uphold an image that we're abusing our children, but we're not going to.
You got to save face for the neighbors, you know? You don't want the neighbors to think you're not beating your kids.
Yeah, and even those two, Barbera told a story about he did not like spanking his children, but one time one of his daughters was just being so unruly and he had to work. And so what he did was he's like, I'm sorry I have to do this, but you're bothering me so much. I have deadlines. He tied her to a chair and said like, you're bad. Like, this is your punishment. And then an hour later, he was like, I hear her, but it doesn't sound like it's in the house. And then he looks out the window, and 2 blocks down the street, she's in a chair, like still strapped into the chair, playing with her friends, just like waddling around attached to this chair. And he's like, fuck, she did it. She worked around it. She's still getting the discipline that I gave her. And all he could do was laugh about it because he's like, she succeeded.
I love this. Which one was this? That this was the Barbara story?
Yeah, Barbera's, yeah.
Barbera, I'm sorry.
You
That's
keep
wild,
saying Barbara.
Man.
It's not Barbara, it's Barbera.
Whatever. Everybody, you know all the kids in school called him Barbara. You know they did.
I didn't.
Well, you didn't go to school with them, though.
Oh, I thought you meant like on the playground. Hey, did you guys check out that new Hanna-Barbera show, Two Stupid Dogs? Oh, you better believe it. That Craig McCracken and Seth MacFarlane, they're pretty good at writing that show, wouldn't you say?
Hey, the White Batmobile. Are you much of a reader at all?
Yes, yeah. I just reread The Never-Ending Story and Momo by Michael End.
Nice.
Very great books. Let's see. Reread Zen and the Art of the Motorcycle Maintenance. Yeah.
Yes. I read that book like 8 times.
Let's see. Been listening to some Alan Watts audio books.
Is this an autobiography or what is it? What is it you're listening to?
Just a compilation of his lectures.
One quote that he gave, which me and my supervisor Luther say this all the time too. It's like if you're talking to somebody on the phone and it's a work thing, just say what you have to say and hang up. It's like an Alan Watts quote. Say what you have to say, hang up. And
yeah,
we love that because so many guys we work with want to talk to us for 15 minutes when all they ask is a yes or no
like
question.
The golden year citizens who go to the DMV and or the MVD, depending on what state you're in, and tell their whole life story when they're just supposed to be up there paying for their new tags or whatever.
Absolutely. Like everything is a story and every situation reminds them of another situation, and their sister did the same thing back in 1942. And oh my gosh, yes, I'm around that all the time at work.
Yeah, I guess the DMV and MVD people, you have to, I guess, admire them for respecting their elders, because they give the rest of us like the death glare when we go up there, but they'll stand there and let one of our decorated citizens speak for like an hour while the rest of everybody else is antsy in line. So I guess at least they respect their elders, if nobody else.
This is my ticket in right here, buddy. This gray beard. That's my ticket into anywhere. Except for yesterday. Me and Charlotte went to Kroger yesterday, and I was picking up some beer for Heather. And my ID was in my car. I had it with me, but it was in my car. And the guy cards me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's in my car. Charlotte, can you go run and get it? She's like, no, yeah, sure. And I'm thinking, like, during this whole transaction, the guy is surely just going to be like, oh, never mind, whatever. But he did not. So we waited and sat there for like 5 minutes while Charlotte was out in the car getting my ID. And it was just weird. It was like, I'm obviously way over 40. And I don't know. It was his job. I didn't get mad or anything, but I just thought it was very weird.
He might have just seen Bad Grandpa, and he's like, I could be getting Bad Grandpa'd right now.
All right, man. We're still in the book corner. So my book this week, listeners will know that I've been reading The Gathering Storm, and Gathering Storm is book 12 of the 14-book series, The Wheel of Time. I'm about halfway through this, so there's a lot of exciting things happening, so it's very hard to put it down. So I haven't read anything else besides The Gathering Storm, so I'm going to recommend an older book like I did last week. I'm recommending Jocko Weyland's The Answer Is Never, is what it's called. It's a wonderful book based around this guy who used to write I think he wrote for Thrasher magazine. And the title of this book, The Answer Is Never, comes from, he was skateboarding. He's an older guy like my age, in his 40s or 50s. And somebody was watching him skateboard and was like, when are you going to give this up? And the answer is never. That's what the whole book is about, is like being old, but still hanging on to the things you did when you were a kid and, letting that guide your life. And it's a great book. I loved it. Jocko Weyland. The Answer Is Never.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to hit that up.
Right on. All right, y'all. That was us, Win Lord Win. I like doing collabs with people. Hopefully going to be doing a collaboration with Voidmaster. I contacted him earlier today, and he agreed to help me out with The Wisdom of Two Rivers. And myself and a fellow named the White Batmobile were supposed to do a collab together. Is that correct?
Yeah, Chapstick by Coin, your daughter's favorite band.
Yeah, well, it's not her favorite band, but she does have
a band she likes, I guess.
That's right. She could sit right here in the conversation with the three of us, because she likes all the same music that the three of us like. You sent me your organ and your vocals, and what I did is I did a more faithful rendition of the guitar and the bass line. So it just didn't kind of line up. I didn't have the right spirit at the time, so I don't know, it just didn't match up. I wanted to start on something and send it to you, so I don't want you to worry about anything at this point, or like get started on anything.
Okay, bro.
I want to do a drum track first for Chapstick for us to do something with, so we have a click track that we can line up.
Nice, yeah.
And then I want to add a couple things to it, and then hand it over to you. So don't expect anything anytime soon. Steve Barnes works very slow.
I'm very overextended as myself, so I get you.
That's why I didn't mean to jump there. Absolutely not. But it just went, I enjoyed doing Chapstick with you, and it was really hard to try to match them up, because like we both had like a different idea, but I guess at the time we didn't communicate that, right? And I think
right. Yeah. I think I had assumed that because how you love creating chaos with the cassettes. So I assumed you were gonna, try to, cut it into little pieces and then, glue it back together in a way that defies the laws of physics. But So yeah, so I think I kind of took that for granted and bastardized my own tracks to it instead of checking to see if we wanted to do a more faithful rendition. I just figured the band did such a good job as it is with the original rendition that I figured that trying to do a duplicate of theirs would almost be. I mean, of course, your guitar and your bass were amazing, but I'm just saying it just seemed like it would be maybe kind of redundant to do a really clean version when they did that, their clean version.
I realize that now. Like, there's no reason to do a faithful version of it because the song is fine on its own, and it would just be like a Kelly Clarkson kind of thing. If we were to do like a faithful version of it, it wouldn't really make sense.
Right, don't get me started on American Idol.
I've barely seen it, so I can't get you started. I can't.
Good, yeah. Like I said, I always consider that like a musical puppy mill. That and The Voice and X Factor or whatever. It's like they're just trying to hand out pre-polished up Barbie and Ken dolls that you can pull the string in the back and the perfectly digitized breakfast cereal music comes out.
Whenever I see a clip that says something like 9-year-old girl amazes the crowd, or whatever, and it's a clip from like American Idol, I have zero interest in watching a 9-year-old perfectly sing something. I just don't have an interest in seeing
I know, like a local radio star made a good point. He's like, he said, don't we all get that there's a lot of people in this world who can sing? Why do we need to have 75 different singing competition shows to remind us of that?
James, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I've been ignoring you. I'm so sorry. We have a guest on, and I've been ignoring my host. I gotta check in with my co-host and see how he's doing. What do you think about collabs, James? You do some with Mr. Dragon Boy Sway, don't you?
Yeah, we got a lot cooking. Just mixed a song of his this morning, so I'm excited. He's excited.
Yeah, I loved what you sent me this morning. I think I told you. I think that was like one of the favorite things. I can't say it's my favorite thing I've heard that you've sent me. When I say things that you've sent me, you have your stuff that's released and it's out there online, but you'll send me like ideas a lot, and they're all great. I've never heard one that I was like, back to the drawing board, James. But this one you sent me this morning, I won't even say the name of it, it might be my favorite thing that you've ever sent me.
Yeah, the beat's very old. I'm surprised he used it because it's one of the first ones I sent, just of like, hey, this sounds kind of your style, which was, for a time I was sampling cartoons that were in the public domain because it's like, well, I don't need to clear these samples. And I believe that one is in the public domain, but it's iffy because I think Disney put it out, and how the only like good thing about like Florida retaliating against them, which this should have lawmakers should have never gave in to Disney's whims of constantly lobbying to push and stretch the public domain years. It used to be like 50 years goes in the public domain after the person dies or after the thing is created, but they kept lobbying to keep pushing it because they're like, well, Mickey Mouse is about to go into the public domain. We got to push it back 5 more years. And they've spent millions of dollars to do this. And it's just, it sucks because now there have been, unless someone is manually putting it in the public domain and saying like, hey, I let it go in there, there's just been this huge just dry spell of nothing going in there.
Word.
But recently, like, stuff from the 20s was put in, so I was just sampling a bunch of that.
Yeah, the one you're talking about, you're going back to your song from today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I liked it. And I mean, I think it's okay to say this. Like, at one point you had like gang vocals. Did you just like loop the sample, or did you loop yourself doing something, or how did you make that?
No, it was I found a sergeant talking on YouTube. He was like hyping up some Marines that he was about to go into battle. It's like the stuff I cut out is very like, ooh, no, toxic army shit. But like it's them like chanting, you know, like brother and bullshit like that. It's just like them doing that.
It was Marines chant. It sounded like gang vocals. It sounded great.
Yeah. I also dirtied it up a little, put some saturation on it.
Of course. Are you guys okay if we start getting into some Wheel of Time news, or am I skipping over anything here?
No,
I think we're good.
Well, right on. Well, first off, my guest, the White Batmobile. I hear that you have watched some Wheel of Time. How much of the Wheel of Time TV show have you seen?
Only 2 episodes so far, but I wish I'll definitely make a point to watch more. Just, you know, I've been, you know, with the COVID and just playing catch up on all my projects, I haven't had time to delve into it as much as I like. I don't know. I mean, I have some weird associations with it. Like, it reminds me of like fond memories of the Dr. Demento. That's as strange as that is.
Yeah. How what's that connection? I don't understand the connection between Wheel of Time and Dr. Demento.
I guess just that it's reminds me of like a time capsule where we truly wanted to expand and not necessarily to try to create a narrative.
Are we talking about the same thing? The Wheel of Time on Amazon, the fantasy series?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I know Dr. Demento was more of a musical parody, but it's almost like truly looking into Pandora's box and actually being able to like kind of just lay in there and escape and not have to think about my life for a little bit of time. That was my experience with it.
Yeah, that's why I like doing music as well. It's for the exact same reason. Did you have any questions or anything like from the first 2 episodes that like didn't make sense, or did you have like a particular favorite character or anything?
I'm still fuzzy on the names just because of the I literally slept for like 6 days straight when I was on COVID. And when I had COVID, so it's like I'm slowly kind of putting my waking self back together.
So are you still feeling symptoms of COVID, like even to this day?
I'm fine. The physical fatigue is gone. No more coughing. I've tested negative. It's just I think just that time in literally spending like 5 days more in my dream state just kind of created a blur, and I'm having to kind of reupholster reality.
That's a perfect way to put it. I got COVID as well for a spell of time. All of us did in the house, and it took a long time to get over it. I think like within the past month, I've felt much better, but the feeling like lingered for a very long time, like at least a month of just that weird drowsiness and just general fatigue and just
brain fog.
I mean, I always have brain fog, but it's a more acute THC style brain fog these days. No more COVID brain fog. James, have you escaped the devil that is COVID, or have you gotten down? You've gotten it at one point, right?
No, I haven't been sick in 2.5 years.
Right on, good for you. Besides the COVID, I haven't been either, but nice. Fauci was saying like at the very beginning of COVID, he was like, everybody should expect to get it, like at some point or another. It's just try to keep yourself safe or whatever. But that was his point. It was like everybody is eventually going to get it. And then
I know nobody took him serious, or well, not nobody. I mean, a lot of them didn't take him seriously, but I would think now, I think anyone who claims that they still don't is kind of lying through their teeth. But
Well, the thing is like earlier this week, I saw like a big headline spread, Fauci has COVID. And then, of course, like conservatives jump on that, like, oh, look, he's got COVID.
Well, it's like he said that he didn't exclude himself. If he said everybody will get it, it's not like he's.
I think people have short memories.
Yeah.
Also, like,
I know there's a lot of backlash against the V word these days, but I think I'll just say that I think if I hadn't had my V's, that it would have probably been much more traumatic process than just simply 5 days down the rabbit hole. I mean, that's just for me. I'm not saying what people should or shouldn't do, but I know that V word's getting a lot of backlash, but I think it's the reason why I was able to get through it, fairly unharmed.
I haven't had my V since 14.
13 over here, pal. That's when I got my first vaccine.
Oh, okay. I was like, you lost your virginity at 13? 14's too young. I wish I would have waited.
I know we're supposed to be talking about Wheel of Time, but yeah, James, that's something else. You were saying, you were saying, James, about how Hannah and Barbera, like, they were different people, but they have a lot of things in common. Mm-hmm. That's something else that you and I also have in common is same with me. I was serious. I got my first V. My V was lost around 13, and first smoking before the age of 10. First smoking pot, like 11, I think.
I was 12 when I
way
first
too
smoked
young.
weed.
Yeah, we were way too young. We should not have gotten into it. Somebody should have slapped that out of our hands.
No, I think smoking weed was fantastic for me because all of a sudden I used to have such an anger problem, and smoking weed just a few times as a 12-year-old, it went from me in fifth and sixth grade just constantly getting into fights and being like angry and pissed off to middle school getting into zero fights whatsoever because I had smoked just a ton of weed for a child to be smoking, and one either was laced with something or was an extremely strong strand, and that's when I was like, I need to stop doing this.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat where I think I might have had a much different personality if I wasn't in that cloud all through middle school and high school. And, who's to say if it would be better or worse, but it is something that I wonder. But yeah, let me get back on track. Wheel of Time. Season 2 is going to be coming out pretty soon now, y'all. And there's a few things we can expect from Season 2. First off, I want to get into the fact that the first book, it kind of delved into some territories of book 2 and 3. So this next season is definitely going to be focusing on books 2 and 3, probably mostly on the Great Hunt. Our boy Padan Fane, the peddler, stole the horn at the last episode. So the last we saw, he's ensconced off with it. And so I think the Great Hunt, which is the book is about the hunt for the Horn of Valir. Obviously, I think we're going to be hunting for Padan Fane for this next season. The Ascension arrived at the end of the last season, so of course we're going to be seeing the Ascension. The Ascension, of course, I didn't explain this to you, James, but when we saw that scene of them on the boats coming over and they were weaving their weaves and making the big wave, you saw the women up front. They had these things over their mouths and they had chains attached to them. And in their society, they enslave women who can channel.
Oh.
And they use them. First, how they do it is they have a leash that they keep on them. And what this leash is a magical leash, of course. And it was the people who made it, they don't even know where these leashes came from. It's just like, we have these things that we can put on people who can channel. And once we put it on them, they have to do whatever we say, and we can do whatever we want with them. So that's how channeling works in their society. So we're going to be getting to know a little bit more about them, obviously.
I wish I had one of those leashes so I could put them on my dog and have him finally sit for once.
We know that Rafe Judkins is going to be back into this. He is going to be the showrunner. The first episode is going to be called A Taste of Solitude. So the only character I know of who's by himself, well, there's two characters by themselves right now. Rand is off by himself, and Matt is off by himself. So we'll probably be focusing on one of them, I'm sure. It was all filmed in Prague, and this is really what I wanted to talk about. Is we have new characters coming in. We have confirmed characters coming in. Are you excited, James?
No, I don't know any of these characters unless you say it's like, yeah, and they're played by Aparna Nanchala. I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna watch this. Hey, we got a new character, Betsy Sidaro. I'd be like, holy shit, hell yeah, Betsy, fuck yes.
Well, how about Sierra Coveney? You know her from The Amazing World of Emma. She plays the titular Emma. She's going to be playing Elaine Trakan for us, and we know her as the daughter heir of Andor. She's going to be like a princess. Hey, we all know Natasha O'Keefe, right?
You're just saying words that I know separately, but not together.
We know Natasha O'Keefe from Peaky Blinders. We know her from Sherlock. We know her from the movie Yesterday. She's going to be playing... We're not sure who she's going to be playing, but there's speculation that she'll be playing either Elida or perhaps... well, I don't know. I think Elida. There's another Aes Sedai, and she works with Elaine, who's this other character. That's why I think she's going to be Elida, is because these two characters are being introduced at the same time. They're not saying who Natasha O'Keefe is playing, but it seems clear that's who it's going to be. And we're going to be not seeing Barney Harris. The White Batmobile, when you watched episode 1 and 2, there was a guy named Matt. Do you remember who Matt is? The guy who was gambling?
I think it's coming back to me a little bit. Like I said, that was like right before the COVID, so
he was the best.
He loved his sisters and hated his parents.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he was the best looking guy on the show too, in my opinion. I mean,
yes. Now that brings back to focus.
When they lived in Prague for season 1, and then everybody went home for COVID, he did not return back to Prague for the last couple of episodes. So we're going to have instead, Donald Finn is going to be playing him instead. And he's a good looking guy too. He looks a lot like Barney Harris. I mean, not a lot like him, but enough like him where I think the hairdo and the makeup, they can make them passable. Yeah, he'll be playing Matt from now on, which is unfortunate. But hey, Ayula Smart from Killing Eve, she's going to be playing Avienda. And
every single thing you're saying, I'm like, I've never seen this. I'm waiting for another from Power Rangers Ninja Steel.
Well, you know, are you aware that we have listeners that are like, oh yeah, I know who this person is. Oh yeah, that person's going to be on the show. There are listeners that are enjoying this, I think.
Yeah, but...
Actually, to interrupt really quick, gentlemen, I do have to go do a Zoom meeting, so audio only, of course, but I have to take off from here, but this has been amazing.
It really has been. I've loved talking to you, man. Thank you.
You too. You guys keep on chatting. Bye.
Hell yeah, see ya.
Let me take a pause right here then, James, and we'll be right back.
Cheer.
Hello, James. We are back. Are you back?
Yeah.
The White Batmobile had to leave us, unfortunately. It was great having him on here.
Mm-hmm.
But he missed out on some of this great Wheel of Time Season 2 news. There's another actress that was busted just yesterday when they released some... it was like a Season 2 wrap video that they released from Prague for the Wheel of Time. And people noticed that there was an actress that was in that, but she hasn't been announced yet. And her name is Rima T. Wiata. And she's a comedian, actress. She just recently won Best Actress Award in New Zealand, where she's from. She's an older actress. I would guess her age between 60 and 80. And she released photos earlier this year from Prague with her holding an owl. And I think you know what that means, right, James? With the character in Aes Sedai, an older woman with an owl as a pet. We know exactly who that is, right?
Yes, the Owls of Gathalul, or whatever that weird-ass movie was.
The Owls of Gahul. No, this is obviously going to be Viren. I think it's clear because Viren has a pet owl. You know, this woman was photographed holding an owl. It seems only natural that she's going to be playing Viren, which is one of the oldest living Aes Sedai in our story. Huge character. It's great that she's aboard. We just need to find a Cad Swane now because there's another actress that Mira Sayal was cast, and she could be Cad Swan. Cad Swan. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
People are speculating she might be the Queen Morghese instead, which would make more sense because you got Elaine for sure. And if you have Elaine, then you're going to have Galad and Gawain, her brothers, and you're going to have her mom, who's Morghese, and you're going to have Elida, who is their Aes Sedai, that is their advisor. So maybe they don't have to have Cad Swane, but I really thought Cad Swane was in the story before Viren. Excuse me. So maybe we'll get them both. I don't know, but we're going to have a lot new Aes Sedai in season 2, James. Are you psyched?
To be honest, no. There's too many characters.
There are too many characters, and that's the thing about this story. I told you last week, or maybe the week before, that I wouldn't mind if you got spoiled by the ending, because even if you got spoiled by like the ending, it would just be like somebody telling you a couple of sentences, or you would read a couple of sentences, and that, of course, wouldn't take into consideration a lot of things that happen. And all these secondary characters do matter to the story, but the book really diverges to these secondary and tertiary characters way too much, and we really should be focusing on the main 5. Yeah. I think the story will do that, the show, I mean, but I just think it's very interesting that we have so many different characters.
Yeah.
And this is something else that they're changing. And this is what I really wanted to tell you and the White Batmobile. I know he's listening, so everybody else listen up. We are sure about Aviendha being in the show, but what it looks like now is that her storyline is going to be different because some leaked footage got out of a conversation between, it was a casting, what do you call it? You know, when they record two actors recording something, talking to each other, but it's not actually for anything other than chemistry. What do you call that?
Oh, I could have swore it was like chemistry test.
No, but they were doing lines, I guess just auditioning, or it wasn't auditioning because Ayula Smart is definitely going to be Aviendha.
I'll look it up. You keep going.
Okay, but this dialogue here makes it seem apparent that Perrin rescues her from something and that she is indebted to him. And that's going to be a huge difference of the storyline. And there's some pretty good stuff in here. And I wanted to tell this to you, James, since we know Perrin pretty well. You know, first lines of dialogue are just, you know, them just getting to know each other.
It's a chemistry test or a chemistry read.
Okay, chemistry read maybe then. Yeah, that was released of Marcus Rutherford and Iuna Small, Perrin and Aviendha having this conversation. It was quickly deleted, but the dialogue is available still. So they're talking, and she's like, you know, she says to him, "My water is yours," in the old tongue, and so that obviously means that she has some kind of debt to him. Perrin just says, "I'm Perrin." She says, "You don't swing the sword badly." He says, "I thought your people never left the waste." So obviously she's not where she's supposed to be. She says, "Only wetlanders call it the waste. It's the treefold land." And she starts talking a bunch of crap about that. But then here is where it's interesting. This is really, really what I wanted to bring up. Perrin starts talking about sin and tells her that he sinned badly and he killed his wife by accident. Our village was attacked. Avienda says, did she die well? Did she choose to fight to protect her home? If she did, then trust, she died well. Perrin says, I want you to beat me. This is what they do in this world. They beat each other. I want you to beat me. I want you to do what the other women did to you. Because obviously earlier in the conversation, Avienda is talking about how she did something bad. And then the wise ones, the women, beat her. And then it beat the sin out of her. Mm-hmm. So Perrin wants her to do this to him. She says, no. He says, you owe me. She says, it's dishonorable to remind me that I owe you. Perrin says, I'm sorry, but please, I need to be beat. He's like, no, it's not going to happen because you're a wetlander. You're not an Aiel. To beat you is not punishment. To beat you would dishonor your wife. You dishonor your wife by grieving her. Death comes for us all. We can only choose how to face it when it comes. Your wife chose. She woke up from her dream, but you will not let her live. You want to keep grieving. You need to stop grieving so she can live on. You need to throw it all away. Oh, that was awesome.
I'm going to be honest. Steve, why did you read that? That is a spoiler.
Not
you
really.
You forget that I have not read the books. I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know that he's going to eventually... This was a beautiful, powerful moment, and it's ruined, Steven.
It's not ruined. I don't think it's ruined at all. I think it's helpful. I think that what does it spoil? It just spoils the fact that they're having this conversation. But for me, this is new.
The impact.
This is new to me because this did not happen. None of this happened in the book. So that's why I jumped on this, because I loved it. It's new to me. So it's not anything that I knew ahead of time that's a spoiler. So I don't consider it a spoiler.
It totally is a spoiler for you now. It spoiled both of us. What you could have said is like, hey, a very beautiful scene happened. I will link it in the description.
Should I do some fancy editing and do that? Or do you think I should just leave this be?
You want to know what? It doesn't matter now because the most important person in your life when it comes to Wheel of Time, you just ruined it for him.
Well, at least this was a very minor spoiler, because all this is it doesn't. I don't think I didn't even see this as a spoiler. Well, I'm sorry, it is.
It's straight up an entire scene you just read the dialogue from. That is a spoiler.
What this was this was a boundary line. I crossed it, but I now know where the boundary line is, and it won't be crossed again. And I'm glad it was crossed in such a minor way this time.
Okay.
Because it will not be crossed again. I'm sorry about that.
I'm just gonna start when you're like, oh yeah, you started reading this book. It's pretty good. I'm gonna find the spoilers. Not like the big spoilers. I'm just going to read a passage from it. And then when you get to that part, you'll be like, oh, God damn it, I already read this. Where's the... I'm just going to skip it. When did he stop?
I'm so full of shame right now. I need to go beat myself and beat the sin out of me for what I've done. This is terrible.
Well, let me get Hopper to beat you.
He does that every day anyway. Jeez, I got a new scar on my arm from when he was like pawing to get my attention, and he has these huge, strong arms, and it leaves scratches across you. Heather has a worse one.
Humble brag for your dog. He's got these big, huge, strong arms.
He's my big boy. This is not a spoiler, James. This is something interesting that I read. Didn't read, I saw. It was an interview with Egwene on the red carpet. Egwene played by Madeline Madden. Yes, that's her name. And this was like a red carpet. I'm sorry, not red carpet, blue carpet for the Amazon.
They were on the premiere of Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, they were on the premiere of The Wheel of Time. They chose a blue carpet for the Aja blue, as if they had a red carpet, that would be like the red carpet for... Leandrin, and we certainly do not want that.
No.
So that's why they had a blue carpet. But on the blue carpet moments, they asked her, who in the cast was like the troublemakers and, who was causing all the chaos. And she surprised me. She said it was Marcus Rutherford, a.k.a. Perrin, and Zoe Robbins, a.k.a. Nynaeve, who were the ones that were always goofing off on set, playing pranks, not paying attention when they should be, just being goofballs. That's shocking.
She knows that Power Rangers life, dude.
She does. That's the second time you brought that up, and I'm glad you reminded me. We are going to be watching some Power Rangers on this Wheel of Time show, Sweet Child of Time. We have two options. We could first do Time Rangers, of course, not Time Rangers, Time Force, because that, ties in with Wheel of Time. But there's also Zoe Robbins. She does the Super Ninja Force. I'm sorry.
Super Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel.
Yes. So, we're going to watch one of those. Which one would you rather watch first?
Ninja Steel. It's my favorite.
Have you already seen it?
Yes, I've seen every single, Ninja Steel, on Power Ranger, or Ranger Command Power Hour, Ninja Steel has been known as, the least favorite series for most people.
Perfect.
But I was like, I'm going to watch this. It can't be that bad. And then we genuinely enjoyed it, so much so that we went on Ranger Command Power Hour with Trekkie B, and we defended it. It was a retrospective, and he's like, we've never done this because we would do episode reviews, and once we got a few episodes in, we realized this show is not for us. But then he's like, well, I binged it. I realized there are some good stuff about it. A lot of people say, oh, there's just too many fart jokes. There's 4 farts that happen in the entire 24 episodes of this show. It's just you guys are blowing it out of proportion. Goddamn, their butts were doing in a couple episodes, or that door they exploded with a fart. Yeah, it's my favorite. I love every single episode of it. It's baffling. There are some, I'll find specific, I think the one where she and it's the yellow and the white ranger, or no, not yellow, pink and white ranger, their parents fall in love with each other, and they're like, we can't have this. And it's why don't you want that? You'll become sisters, you're friends. I think we'll do that one because that's one of the most baffling storylines she's part of.
Okay, right on. Yeah. Okay, we're going to do that next then. Great. And we'll see if I'll see, I guess, if she's more of a goofball in Power Rangers than she is in Wheel of Time, because she being Zoe Robbins is pretty serious in this show, and she doesn't goof around too much at all, at least in her character. But I guess in real life she is. That's cool that it works that way.
Caleb Bendit, who played
yes,
Monty on Ninja Steel, he came on Mostly Speaking Sentai, and he told behind the scene stuff, and it seemed like it was a pretty goofy, relaxed set. Just the higher ups were not.
I listened to that episode with Caleb because I was listening to your podcast at that time. This was I really wish our timing could have zoomed up better, where we could have gotten some Zoe Robbins stories out of them. I mean, that's amazing. Maybe you'll get it back one day. Who knows?
Maybe.
I don't have any other notes for this episode. That's a big note that I need to write down. But I don't have any other notes. Do you, James?
No, just Amazon released numbers of people watching stuff, and Wheel of Time, second most watched show this past year.
That's right. That fares well for the next season. Hopefully those were the minutes of that people watched too, that graph. So people are obviously watching it and rewatching it. That counts our rewatches as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that trend keeps up, and I hope we get many more listeners for season 2. I do want to, we're wrapping up the show now, and I'm going to start going into outro mode. But I do want to say we have a lot of new listeners this past couple of weeks, and I welcome them all. And I hope the steam starts going for season 2. I wanted to say hello to everybody that's joining in from the Sin Nation Network, which I always have problems saying those S's and those N's close together. That's been great. The Facebook group, Wheel of Time TV series, that's what it's called, Wheel of Time TV series. There's a lot of Wheel of Time groups on Facebook, but the only good one is Wheel of Time TV series. And I want to say shout out to them. Hello, Anna. Thank you very much. I am going to go into plug mode now, James. So do you have any plugs, or where can people find you this week?
MLMpod.com for all my podcasts, Marshland Monster for my music, and Patreon.com is the best way to support us over on Patreon.com/MLMpod. $5 a month, you get exclusive podcasts. See us later. I guess, Steve, do the $10 patrons. I'm trying to get out of here. It is 90 degrees.
We're going to wrap up then. You know me,
Okay.
I'm on Introvoid. We just released a song with Rebecca Crow, Win Lord Win. You already heard it if you've been listening to this, but take a listen to it on Spotify. Please check out the Deathcast. Deathcast 2 is out now. Your boy Steve has got 2 characters on there as well. And check out Sin Nation Network. As usual, lots of good podcasts on there. Hopefully we'll be featuring me and James in the future. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
But since it's so damn hot, we're going to get out of here. From Sweet Child of Time, I'm Steve, and he is somebody.
Marshland Monster.
And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
To find shade and water or something, I don't know.
Yes, please, James, you need to go get some shade right now, and you need to get some water immediately, okay?
You keep forgetting how we outro these. Like, it's insane that I'm the one who remembers. See you guys. Bye.
You're the professional. Bye.